Hello, Taylor.
Hello, привет.
Hello.
My name is Victor. I'm from Moldova. Taylor Ramsdell, тренер
So,
по
Taylor,
физической
we are going to
подготовке
start.
Дмитрия
Victor has
Бивола.
just introduced you. And the first
И
question
первый
would
вопрос,
be just to
Taylor,
tell a bit about
расскажи про
yourself. Where are
себя,
you from?
сколько тебе
How
лет,
old are you? And so
откуда
on.
ты?
Okay, yeah. My name is Taylor Ramsdell. I'm a strength and conditioning coach. I am from the United States. Currently, I live in Missouri. I had lived in California for about 12 years, and that's where I actually started working with Dimitri Bibel. I've been a trainer. I was first certified as a trainer in 2003. And then I began working in the professional fighting world in 2009.
What
Каким
type
видом
of sports
спорта
did you
занимался
practice?
Тейлор?
Okay, yeah. When I growing up, I played soccer or football very competitively. I played many team sports. I did some martial arts, but I was very competitive in soccer or football. And then whenever I reached high school, I began playing American football. And then I played American football through high school. And then my first year at college, I was recruited and I started playing, but then I decided to focus on my studies and other things in life.
So, it was
У
not
тебя
your
не стояла
primary
цели стать
goal to
спортсменом?
become a professional sportsman.
No, not to be a professional sportsman. Had I stayed in American football, I feel that I could have continued, on. I was a very hard worker. I wasn't an extremely talented athlete, but I was a very hard worker. And I learned in the process. So I always feel like I don't ever put any limits on myself as to what I could accomplish, nor other people that have the same mindset. But no, my goal is not to become a professional sportsman. I did it, and then whenever I was done doing that, then I started focusing on more business and that side of it. And as I was doing this and trying to figure out what I wanted to do for a career in the business world, I was always training people as well. So I was always a trainer. And then eventually my training overtook that. My training became my business.
Except
Кем
for
из
Dmitry
спортсменов
Bivol, with
работает
who of other
Тейлор,
sportsmen do
кроме
you
Дмитрия
work?
Бивола?
Yeah, probably my many MMA fighters, other boxers. As far as names, I mean, I could list so many names of different boxers, but let's focus like with the Russian boxing. I've worked with Sergey Kuzmin, Denis Lebedev, Dmitry Kudyryashov. So many. I mean, they're. I don't want to list them because I will leave some out. But I have been working with Russian boxers since I began in 2009. The first two Russian boxers I worked with were Denis Shavakov and Anton Novikov. And then from there, it just continued. And I have had the pleasure of, training so many. And I also train boxers from the United States. I've trained boxers from Kazakhstan, Ukraine, Uzbekistan, all over the world. I've trained people from all over the world because I've been very grateful and honored and blessed to have had successes with the athletes, with the sportsmen I've worked with. And when that happens, more come to work.
Just to make clear, you said the two first boxers from Russia were Denis.
Sergey Kuzmin, Denis Lebedev,
Yeah.
Dmitry Kudyryashov, and there. I mean, like I said, there are so many. These are just three that just came to mind. Yeah, so many.
Your
У тебя
program
довольно
or your kind
нестандартная
of like
физическая
physical
работа.
work
Что за
or conditioning
программа
training which you do
тренировок у тебя?
is
Что это за
pretty
метод
much
такой?
unusual.
Как это называется?
Is there any specific name for your methodology?
I don't. There's no name for it. I use a combination of many other thoughts. What I do with the way that my mind works is I study movement patterns. So I study an athlete's movement patterns and then I apply the methods that many people use. And I pick what I feel is best for that specific sportsman that will help them benefit, that will benefit them the most, while also still adhering to the basics. Because everyone needs to have the same basic movements and exercises And then I bring in different ways to enhance their movements to make them better. You know, at what they are already good at, we make them great. And if they're not so good at something, we make them better at that too. And then it's just a way of making sure it stays interesting for the athlete because it's just as much mental as it is physical. So I want to create an atmosphere and a program that stimulates not only their body, but their mind as well.
Taylor, could you please tell us for how many years have you been working with Dmitry Bivol and how did you start your cooperation?
Yeah, so we started working together in 2017. So in the spring of 2017. So we're about 5.5, coming up on 6 years. So this next spring will be 6 years. So between 5 and 6 years, we met through another trainer that was getting ready to travel. His name is Jordan. He was getting ready to travel with another client. I had been training fighters for many years. We knew of each other. He said, you know, can you coach him while, you know, for me? He sent Dmitry to me. And then from there, we just worked together and bonded and stayed together for years until now. And it's been just over now at this previous fight, now it's been just over half of his career. So he's 21-0. So we've trained together for 11 of those fights.
When you just met Dmitry Bivol on the first trainings, were you satisfied with his, you know, athletic ability and physical state?
Yeah, I mean, where he was, that's a hard question. I mean, I'm never satisfied. I'm not satisfied where he is now because we're always getting better. But to answer that, you know, Dmitry Bivol is a great athlete. He came to me already 10-0 as a professional fighter. You know, he's been fighting his whole life. So he came to me in great shape. He was working with a great trainer already. So he was already in great shape. With that said, we continue to get better every single camp, you know, every single camp. So every time we go into the fight, I know he's ready for that fight. But then when we start the next camp, we're getting better again. So we're always getting better. So to say I'm satisfied, I can say very clearly that I'm never satisfied with where we are. But as far as Dmitry Bivol himself, yes, he is. He always comes to train and he is always ready to go. I just always want to make sure that we're getting better.
Did it ever happen that you felt that Dmitry is somehow not really ready for that fight, but then he came to the ring and he won the fight?
No, he is always ready. Our team, we're all very good at what we do because we all love what we do. So we are always prepared in a way that gives us full confidence. There has never been a time that he has walked into the ring that I didn't have full confidence in his victory.
Kind of a long, like requiring a long answer, but maybe you can phrase it short.
Okay.
Could you please tell us in how many steps or phases do you divide the preparation for Dmitry Bivol?
Okay, so really the easiest way to answer that is it's a continuous process. But if you're going to break it down into phases, it's really the most basic way to look at it is 3 phases. You have the first phase, which is just the initial preparation, where we make sure that he's ready for, you know, the intense camp where he starts his sparring. So we start training, then he does the sparring in the camp, and then the final phase is the last, you know, week or 2 before the fight, where he is letting his body really use all the work that we have put in. So we do the work and then we let his body feel the progress and the work that we've done prior to the fight. So, you know, there's really 3. There's a preparation phase, there's the work phase, and there's the peaking phase.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with that said, like I said, it's a constant thing. Some people really break it up. I just go from one into the other, and we make subtle changes as we go.
How many strength trainings does Dmitry have with you per week? And in which time of the day do they take place?
So with Dmitry in our camps, we do the strength and conditioning sessions 3 times a week. We do them on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday in the evening. and those take place on the same day as his sparring. So he spars Monday, Wednesday, and Friday earlier in the day, and then we do the strength and conditioning in the evening on those 3 days.
Speak a bit about the final part of his preparation. How long does it last? Is it 1 week or is it several weeks?
It's really so there's fight week. Okay, fight week is the week of the fight. Fight week, we just recover and let his body kind of rest. And there's some light boxing work with coach, but it's really light. So let's count that as 1 week. And then anywhere from 1 to 2 weeks prior to that is the final phase. The week prior to fight week, the sessions, depending on how he's feeling, how the sparring is, I change it as we go. Okay, so generally though, that last week is shorter as far as volume, but higher in the intensity. Okay, so high intensity, but shorter periods of work. Because the reason why is that there's not always the same, it's not always the exact same, because I know my athlete very well. I know him very well. So if he comes to me and let's say that I see in his eyes, I see in his eyes that maybe today isn't a day to go really intense. We change the plan, or maybe today is a day where we go really intense. So it's both you have to have a plan, but you also have to be able to adjust and adapt and deviate from that plan when and if it's needed.
How many weeks do you dedicate to sparring fights, and are you present there when they do sparring fights?
Yes, I'm present at all the training, because that's also how when we're talking about adapting the plan, I have a plan, but I watch his movement and I see where things are needing to be worked on, things that are going well, things that need to be improved upon. And a lot of that I'm able to see in sparring. As far as how many weeks they're sparring, that is up to Coach Gennady Mashinov. And it usually varies. I mean, that's usually, gosh, I don't even know what this last time, how many weeks we did. We were in Krasnodar for about 4, 5, 6. Anyway, it depends on when we get news of the fight. So it can be anywhere from 5 or 6 weeks to like 7 or 8 weeks of sparring. But again, that varies depending on when we know of the fight, how much notice we have. So there's not an exact answer to that. And then as far as how many rounds he does and all that, that is fully up to coach. And he is similar to me where there is a plan, but we're always able to deviate and adjust as we see fit. Sometimes it might be more, sometimes it might be less.
How many rounds could it be? Like from 4 to 12 or?
Yeah, yes. I don't think we did any 4s this last time. I don't remember exactly when it started. He might have had a day or 2 there, but 6 to 8, and then goes up to 10 or more. Yeah, it ranges, and it ranges as we go into camp. It builds as we go.
How many sparring partners does Dmitry usually have?
Changes from camp to camp.
Mm-hmm.
That changes from camp to camp. I mean, this last time he had two different sparring partners while we were in Krasnodar, and then while we were in Abu Dhabi, he had another 2 different sparring partners. But that changes. Then in the fight with the prior camp, we had a couple of regular guys throughout the whole camp, and then some people would come in from time to time to work with him. So again, that varies.
Does Dmitry have any diet, and how does he approach weighing or controlling?
That's a question that's often asked. And with Dmitry, he eats pretty healthy regularly, and his diet during the camp, the way he makes weight is he just diets down. There isn't a great big weight cut, and the way that we do that is he's really in control of his own diet. He has guidance, and there was a nutritionist that wrote out his plan while we were in Kyrgyzstan in the beginning, and then he just kind of applies that throughout. But the simplest answer is he just eats healthy, and then to make weight at the end, some of the training has changed, and he just eats less sweets, he eats less food, but he doesn't do any big crazy weight cut. He just literally diets down throughout camp, so he's just losing weight as we train.
Okay.
He does have someone that this time he had a written plan while we were in Kyrgyzstan, and then from there it's just continuing to apply the same knowledge and ideas behind it. You know, meats, vegetables, etc. And even when we were in Krasnodar, he was still using that same plan, and it's a lot. He gets a lot of food, he gets a lot of carbs, protein, etc. So he has a full diet. I mean, he gets plenty of food, and then as we get closer to the fight, he starts cutting that away, so his weight comes down.
And Dmitri's last opponent, Ramirez, he looks like a really huge guy. He's a big one, so he could gain like 7, 8 kilos. How can it happen?
You'd have to ask him. Different people do different things. I've had guys that put on, I mean, close to 30 pounds. I don't know exactly what that is, kilos, 14, something like that. But I don't like that. I would rather it not be a huge difference in weight from the weigh in to the fight. You know, no more than, they shouldn't do a cut of more than 10%, in my opinion, just from what I've seen from experience. But yeah, and if they balloon up just to be big, then you just move faster than them. I'm not a big fan of the huge changes in weight.
Uh, could you name like one or maybe two athletes with whom you worked and who were like most physically gifted?
Oh gosh, I've worked with so many. To narrow it down to just a couple isn't fair to the others. But you know, one person that comes to mind that I still train regularly, his name is George Garcia. He's an MMA fighter that is local in Los Angeles, and he is very hardworking, and he will show up and do all the work that is said, and he does it well. Alan Jouban was a UFC fighter that did the same. Dimitri Bivol is one that always shows up and does the work. But I honestly, every single person that I have worked with for a long period of time has met those standards. The ones that don't, we, you know, haven't always continued, but most of the people that come to me are already professional. They're already on their path, and it's our job to take that to the next level. So again, to just name a few people, you know, it takes away from so many other people that do the work, because I'm a big fan of every single person I work with, and I'm proud of all of them. And if there's ever a time where I'm not, then we have the talk, and then the talk is only had one time, and they step it up, and we rock and roll. So it's a blessing and an honor to work with such great athletes, every single one I've ever worked with.
Do you know the Mr. Usyk trainer and his CrossFit training approach? Do you think it is efficient or not, and how many people practice this?
I'm not really aware of what his training is, so I don't. I'm not. I don't. I'm not aware. I'm not aware enough to give an answer on that. To give an opinion. Meaning, I haven't seen his training. I mean, I've seen some, but I don't know their plan or program. I do know that Usyk is a great boxer, so it seems that what he's doing is working.
How often is it used in training fighters, maybe in the USA or wherever else, if you have seen that?
The actual brand of CrossFit, because they're in the world now, the term CrossFit has been diluted, meaning that a lot of people just call strength and conditioning CrossFit worldwide. The actual brand and the actual programming of CrossFit, I've seen some people do it. And honestly, it's whatever works for each individual person. I have my own opinions, but everybody has opinions. So it's up to the athlete and the coach to make sure that what is proper for that specific person is working well for them. And if it's not, then they need to do something different. If it is, keep doing it. I don't personally, I don't do CrossFit. I was CrossFit certified a long time ago. But there's a lot of, there's pros and cons to everything. So it's up to the individual to do what's best for them. And because it's a business model, I know some CrossFit coaches that are very, very good at what they do, and then I know some that just get it to open the business. So it's kind of like asking, how do you feel about boxing coaches? Like some are great, some aren't. It's a case by case basis.
There is an opinion that in the USA, the trainers are not that competent, that they don't really have a plan or fixed steps of preparation, that they all follow just one and the same model. What do you think about that?
I haven't heard that before, but if that's a thing, then I don't think it's accurate. And if it is accurate by the people that people see doing that, then a person that does that shouldn't be in the industry. That I think that's with any industry, that you're going to have people that are great at what they do. You're going to have people that love what they do, and then you're going to have people that aren't so good at what they do. To file that away as to one geographical location, I don't think that that's a correct way to do it. And the best way to really do that is you have to start somewhere. You always have to start somewhere, but the ones that have been around for a long time, you look at their reputation and their track record with success, and then you can find, who's really serious and passionate about their job.
Thank you very much.
Спасибо.
Was very interesting, and have a nice day.
Yes, you too.
We will connect on Instagram.
Thank you very much.
Спасибо,
Thank you.
спасибо, спасибо.
Goodbye.
Thank you.